Destiny Changers is a non-denominational Christian organization with the objective to rebuild the altar of praise and worship and also develop our society morally and socially. The name Destiny Changers is just trying to reflect to a person called Jesus, just to say changing people's life from a negative point of view to a positive side. So when we say Destiny Changers, we're not talking about us, we're talking about the person in us that changes the life of people. So that's all about the name Destiny Changers.
How long has the group existed?
This is the 8th year that the group has been existing, though we were functioning not as an organization before. So we can say for the past 13 years we've been existing, but as an organization recognized, this is about 8 years today.
Let's talk about some of the things that the Destiny Changers musical band does.
Number one, music, gospel music. Everywhere there's a program to glorify the name of Yahweh, we are always available and present whenever we are invited. And even when we are not invited, we're always present to add to what the others are doing or to join the others in communion and worship. So we do societal development, humanitarian gestures for the less privileged. For instance, now with the crisis in our country, we know that so many internally displaced, so we've taken it upon ourselves to see how we can support the few that we can by our own little means, and also employ the help of other people that can join us to make sure we do the little that we can for the people that we can meet, and also call for other people, other organizations to help develop and help meet the necessary needs or the immediate needs of these persons. Not just that, we also go into communities to help in the cleanup campaigns. We go to different churches to clean up the churches. Sometimes, even after some programs or ministrations, whatever we have that has been given to us as honorarium or blessing, we can use also to buy equipment for some churches when we realize that the needs are there, or do some stuff just to develop, because it's all about developing people, developing churches, developing society. And as we do that, we too are being developed and we have been blessed.
You are the musical director for the Destiny Changers musical band. So let's go back to the band's first album, The Unlimited. Talk to us about that album.
Yes, I would say it was our first experience as a music organization, and it wasn't easy. That's what I was going to say. It wasn't easy because we lacked the marketing ideologies. We lacked a lot of things in terms of marketing and publicity. But talking about the spiritual aspect of the song and the music itself, it was well to do, but due to our low level of understanding of the market, the music or the songs were not really known everywhere. They did not go viral. But if a song is good, it doesn't die. So with the new knowledge and the ideas that we've developed these years, we are trying to go back to see how we can revive the songs again and sending them back to the market. I'll tell you, when we watch some of the songs being played on Canal 2. We did not do anything to send the songs there. Someone went to do his publicity and he told them about Destiny Changers, and they asked of one of our songs or two, and they were playing it, and we are surprised that up to date, songs that were being produced almost about 4 years ago, they are still making waves and they are still being recommended by a wonderful media house like Canal 2 and even other CRTV and other media houses. And it makes us happy. I've been on social media when you get people's comment under our songs, and when we send it to different forums, the comments that come after are positive, and it makes us understand that at least we did something that is positive music-wise.
Okay, let's talk about the inspiration behind some of the songs. Let's talk about a song like Humble Yourself, and what inspired the writing and the production process of that entire song.
Humble Yourself is a song that personally I'm going to say is our life that we live and the experiences that we've had, because we saw from where God picked us up and where we were before having the inspiration, and we realized that all what we got is as a result of humility. Because whenever we try to fight or to forge ahead by ourselves and our own strength, we realize that we're being resisted. Just like the scripture says that God will resist the proud but will give grace to the humble. Then we realize that whenever we decide to humble ourselves, we realize that we did not fight with what we wanted in the future. Things were just happening without any struggle, without stress. So we realize that to make it to the top, the best way is to go down. Just like when you're in the water and you have a balloon or a football, the more you put the pressure for the ball to go down. The more you exert pressure, you realize that the way the ball will skyrocket to the air, it will go higher than where you would have used your hand to lift the ball up. We realized that to become effective and valuable in the society, one of the ways to do was to go down, to take yourself down, becoming a doormat, because people will trample on you to enter the house, because we want the house to be neat, we want the house to be clean. So we're trying to pave the way, so we put ourselves at that doormat. But whenever they want to go out, after they've entered the clean house, as they're going out with the scourging sun, they will use the same doormat to make a hat, and we are going to be seen then. Whereas we were down, we were being trampled upon. People never saw what we did because they were inside the house. So that's what we call private success and public success. We did everything privately and publicly. Now they saw us, they saw the glory.
Another song of yours that has been making the waves is the song Atawaletu. Let's talk about that song. How did it come about?
Okay, Atawaletu, the meaning of Atawaletu is you reign, God reigns. The rhythm of the song actually is as a result of listening to a lot of South African music. That's how we got to get that rhythm. But now outside that, the lyrics, we were trying to say God reigns, because if you go to the lyrics of the song, there's a point where it says people dying every day, series of wars in the world, but we are saved because you reign. Atawaletu, you reign, Jesus reigns. So we're just like telling him you reign. But the rhythm, the flow of the song is as a result of a lot of South African music that we've been listening. And it's a wonderful song.
What would you consider as the career highlights of the band, the Destiny Changers musical band?
When we were invited to perform at CRTV during the Monday show, that was one of our biggest programs or biggest outings that we had in 2014. And it was really, really important for us, because being in Limbe, doing all our programs in Limbe, we've never been out of Limbe, and getting an invitation over the national TV, and it was like, whoa. But we thank God, because from there we had other invitations in different places. One of which we can never forget is collaborating with Don Moen to do the Hila Land concert that Don Moen had in Limbe. He had his program in Cameroon, but in Limbe we were selected among the band that will perform alongside Don Moen during the Hila Land tour. I would say that was the biggest stage we've ever had. Not forgetting about the Fire Conference, that has also been a wonderful blessing to us, because it's an international conference where we have guest ministers from different countries and people that are coming from different countries, and it's always a pleasure ministering in front of these people. Something is cooking also for the Destiny Changers, which we are going to unveil later, but it's also an international invitation.
Let's talk about the concert that you're about to have, the Healing Worship Concert. What is the Healing Worship Concert about?
The inspiration is just about what is happening in our nation. When we saw people going through serious damages in their families, their homes, we felt that pinch in our hearts, because like I said earlier, that one of the objectives of Destiny Changers is societal development. And so when we talked about healing worship, healing, you hear the word healing, it's not just about sicknesses, it's about the mind, the trauma, the pain that people have been going through. They need to be healed from things like that. They need to be healed from all that. So we decided to do a healing worship concert. No matter what we give them, it can't heal them. The food we're going to provide for them, they're going to eat today, but they're going to be hungry tomorrow. We're going to give them water to drink today, but they're going to be thirsty tomorrow. We're going to create empowerment programs for them today. But after they finish working that and doing all that, they will never forget the house that was being burnt. They'll never forget the husband or the wife or the child that was being brutalized and killed. So when we talk about healing, there's just one man that can give healing, and his name is Jesus. So that's why we talk about healing worship, because he is the only one that can comfort us. The Bible says in Matthew 9:6 that he's the Prince of Peace. He's the only one that can give us peace. When we talk about healing worship, we talk about presenting the Prince of Peace to those who are going through chaotic situations.
We understand that this is the second edition of the concert, and so people who are coming for the healing worship concert, what should they expect?
They should come to join us, worship that King, because they should not be coming and sitting like that. They want to see us give food to some people. No, we are coming to meet with a person that will bring healing, because all of us are going through the same situation. Maybe we are not affected directly, but we must be affected indirectly. Every Cameroonian is affected by this crisis. So when we are coming, we are not expecting some people to worship for us. No, we are coming to worship, so that as we worship him, generally or nationally for our nation, God will heal the whole land of Cameroon, because our land needs serious healing. That's the first thing. Now, if we talk about expectation, what the people are expected to do or to see, then they're expected to see us provide the tangible needs of the people, like foodstuffs and all those basic needs. Those are the things they should expect to see from the destinations. And also, we expect from them to bring something from their home. Maybe you have some clothes you're not using, you have some foodstuffs that you think can be helpful to another person, or maybe you cannot get into those places where you can have your finance that you can support those people. So we also expect you, as we expect you to worship, we expect you also to bring something for the needy.
Let's talk about something else. Mighty God You Reign is the name of the new single from the Destiny Changers band to be released on the 7th of June. Let's talk about this song.
Mighty God You Reign was inspired by God in 2017. To shock everyone, the song was inspired in the studio, because when we went to the studio, it was not among the list of songs we had. But while we were playing the keyboard and just worshiping one morning in the studio, then the song popped up, and that's how we started writing the lyrics down collaboratively, because it was not just one person's idea. We're sharing ideas in the studio, and that's how we built the song together through God's inspiration. And looking at the time that we have taken to build this wonderful masterpiece, we thought it wise that on the 7th, it would be a good time for us to officially release this masterpiece, Mighty God You Reign. And it's also coming at a particular point in life in our nation where everyone has to realize that God reigns, because looking at the incident that happened in our country about 4 days ago at Sonara, if God is not reigning, we would have heard that people died in their numbers. But because He reigns, though the incident was something that could take lives, then the hand of God, being the mighty God, had to do everything possible to stop the tragic event that would have happened in our nation. So you realize that it's very important for everyone to keenly listen and go buy, subscribe, and get the song Mighty God You Reign, because it's a wonderful song. It's inspirational, and it's a worship to the one and only King of the universe, Jesus.
We understand that this is the first single from your upcoming album called Foundations. You've given us the title of the new single and also the title of the album. So can we expect the album anytime soon?
Yes, latest by December, God willing, we'll be launching the full album. And I tell you, it's when you hear the title of the album, Foundation, you should be expecting something solid, something strong, and not just for us, but for Him. Because you realize that a lot of us are kicking out of the right direction because we lack foundations. And with the album Foundation, you go back to where God wants us, the original plan of God for us as His children. I don't want to use the word believers, but as His children generally, because each and every one of us needs to walk in the foundation of God. The house cannot stand without a solid foundation. So the foundation is something very important, and I believe that come December we'll be launching the full album, and anyone that will listen to it, if your foundation is faulty or your foundation is shaky, I believe that God is going to solidify the foundation.
How would you describe the style of music that the Destiny Changers musical band produces?
Yeah, when it comes to the brands or the styles of music, just like we said, foundation has to deal with everything called music. So that's why the theme of the album itself is telling you that we are trying to deal with everything music. You get to hear reggae, you get to hear Afro jazz, you get to hear the Bikutsi, which is folklore in African genre. You get to hear soul, and all genres of music you get there, and professionally arranged and sung. So it's really wonderful to get this album, because you're not going to sit. It's not a stereotyped album where you just sit and listen to blues, and maybe you are not a blues fan. But with the Destiny Changers album, everyone will have a song. Everyone will have something that he will hold on to. You will love all the songs, but if you are a fan of folklore, there must be folklore for you. Though we play reggae, you're not a fan of reggae, but you will love the reggae because it is professionally dished out to you.
Who would you say are some of the Destiny Changers' greatest musical influences?
We will say, firstly, we will never forget Benjamin Dube, because when we started, that was one of the persons that we always emulated. Whenever we listen to the way he does his music, we're really inspired by it. Not forgetting Sami Oposo, because we love to do original and professional music, and we were going in for people that we saw that in them from the African background. We can't forget Sonny Badu, not to forget Nathaniel Bassi. These persons in Africa have played a great role in our music, and Lara George also. One of her songs, because I will not say her entire album, but one of her songs, Mumi Dele, that she did, when we listened to the song, it gave us an inspiration, because if you listen to the song, it's a masterpiece and it's professionally arranged. So those are the kind of things we were going in for. I cannot talk about all the musical icons that have been a blessing to us and have inspired us, but I'm talking about those that generally, when we listen to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 songs from these persons, it makes us to build a better foundation for our music band. Also outside Africa, we will not forget people like Don Moen. We will not forget Cesar Winers, Kirk Franklin, his group, the way he does his stuff, Jonathan McRenoy, because all these persons with the Destiny Changers, they influence the band individually from the members, because we have people that are singing different genres also in the group. That's what makes us dynamic, because we have people singing different genres in the group, and so all these musicians have called might not have affected the general band the way they affected individually some persons, because these people were inclined to the kind of music they are doing. So we bring it now to everybody, so everybody has at least a feel of what this person or that person is doing.
Okay, let's talk about the future. What are some of the things that the Destiny Changers musical band would like to accomplish, let's say in the next 5 to 10 years?
In the next 5 to 10 years, we would like to accomplish a lot of things. Firstly, I would like to say we have 3 studio engineers in the group that are still studying. We are still studying the studio engineering field, and once we are done, our first target will be establishing a professional music studio whereby we can do anything music professionally with excellence and diligence. That's the first. We also have music instructors that are also studying, and one of the things we are working on with the music instructors is to establish a music school in Cameroon. If you can bear with me that there's no music school in Cameroon, we can have some people doing their individual stuffs, but we don't have a recognized international music school in Cameroon whereby people can leave Nigeria, leave the US, leave Ghana, that they want to attend a music school in Cameroon. So we are trying to do that. If our songs are being celebrated in the US, it means our teachers can be celebrated also in the US. So people can leave the US to come study in our schools. People can leave the US to come and produce their albums in our studio. It is possible. We are already doing some work from those countries, but because we are not yet at the level that we think and the world also is expecting, so that's why we have kept everything low. But we believe in between 5 and 10 years we must have accomplished that. One, the two, secondly the music school, and thirdly also we want to establish a center where we can organize international music concerts, because apparently in our city where we reside, we don't have an international site where we can organize international concerts, our nation generally even. So we are working on things like that so that we can put it. We don't just want, there are people that have the money that they can develop, that they can do that, but just like we hosted Don Moen, but we need the technical know-how. Financially, people will be there to establish things like that, but establishing that without the technicalities is just a failure, because we'll do it once and people will regret why they ever spent their money to do that. But if we are technically equipped, that's to say musically oriented, or what it takes to host such a program, then when people invest, it will be a blessing to our nation rather than being a curse. That's why those are the things, those are the major aspects we are developing at the moment.
How would you describe the state of gospel music in Cameroon today?
What I'll say is gospel music in Cameroon seems like it has developed, but that's not true. It's bleak. It's bleak because just like our album is talking about foundations, those who picked up from the elderly, let me use it that way, did not pick up the foundations. They just took what they saw flashy without having an understanding. So most of our gospel musicians that we have in our nation spiritually can be all right, but technically speaking, lack a lot of things. I might be sounding hard or harsh, but it's a simple truth in our nation. What I'm trying to say, they know music, but they don't understand music.
What's the difference
between knowing and understanding? Now, let me explain. I'll give an example. You go to a driving school. The first time you learn how to drive, the teacher, you know how to drive, and you're driving, you're excited. You just drive, you see a speed break, you just climb anyhow, you just go the potholes, you just enter the tire fires. You just know how to drive. But the person that understands how to drive, he doesn't drive with excitement. He's responsible. He's not excited. So when he's driving, he sees the speed brakes. He knows what to do when he sees the speed brakes. He sees a pothole because he understands driving. I'll give another example. Your child, when you have a little baby, the moment she starts wearing her slippers by herself, she's excited and she can put it, and either way, she's still comfortable. She's excited. She knows that it's a slippers. But when she understands what a slippers is to her, she becomes responsible with her slippers. And that's how our music in Cameroon is. We have the gospel music, a lot of people will know music but don't understand music. So they are not responsible, they're excited. That's why you see a lot of dangling in our musical sphere in Cameroon. But if we get to that point of understanding music in Cameroon, you'll see that there'll be a lot of difference with the way we produce, the way we perform, the way we minister, and the way we even carry our art in every sphere of our art musically.
What do you think can be done to ensure that Cameroonian gospel singers, gospel ministers, not only know music but understand it, like you say? What can be done to change that?
I think individually, first, we have to go back, just like our song, Humble Yourself. We have to accept our limits. We have to look deep into ourselves and accept first our limitations. Number one. Number two, make use of everyone around us, because all of us need something small or much from someone around us. So we learn to walk in synergy so that we tap from everyone. Because for instance, myself, a lot of people used to say, I'm good. That's what they say. But I know how I grow, and I know the truth, if I'm good or not. And I know what makes me good and what makes me not to be good. So what makes me good is when I tap from people, because individually I'm not good. So if we can be humble enough to see those things that can push us, that's the first thing, individually. Number two, now generally, those who are a little advanced should go back to the basic to teach their experiences, to teach attitude, not just teaching music as in the technicalities, because music has to do a lot also with character. Because a good music person is a person that has good character. They respect, first of all, the audience, they respect their families, they respect themselves, they respect their nations. So they are bound to succeed, not just because they are technically correct, but they are also in terms of attitude, they are sound. Now when it comes to the gospel field, there are musicians also in the gospel field that are technically correct, but have bad attitudes. And I don't want to call names because it might cause conflict, but I'll give you examples of positive gospel musicians. Nathaniel Bassi, Don Moen, Cece Winers, Donnie McClocken. Look at these people. Soweto Gospel Choir for how many years? You see, you will hardly hear something negative about them in South Africa. Benjamin Dube, you see, I'm just naming a few. So if we want to do this thing the right way, our attitude is very important. But our technicality too counts. So our attitude helps to bring us to that spiritual perspective, but our technicality brings us to that place of excellence. Because we can be spiritually sound, but we are not technically sound, then we are not musicians. We need both to succeed.
Okay, let's talk about another issue. Recently, renowned worship leader Tasha Cobbs collaborated with hip-hop artist Nicki Minaj, and she raised a lot of eyebrows because a lot of people accused her of collaborating with someone whose lifestyle is not representative of the gospel. And on this program, we are interested in finding out what gospel artists think of that collaboration. Should Christian artists collaborate with secular artists?
That's a very technical question, and it's a very technical aspect of our ministry. But I'm going to say this. It depends on the context. It depends on the occasion. You like it or yes, we'll enter the same bus. You like it or yes, we'll go to the same schools. You like it or yes, we'll meet in the same office. we'll do the same things. So what if Tasha Cobbs and Nicki Minaj are working in the same bank, and they have their end of year party, and they have to sing happy birthday to you, and Tasha Cobb has the mic, Nicki Minaj has the mic, and they have to sing? What will happen? She will say she will not sing because Nicki Minaj is not born again. No, you see, that's why I say it depends on the context, and it depends on the occasion and the opportunity they have. We should define, we know our limits, we know our boundaries. So when, for instance, I have to do something with Wizkid, for instance, I have to do something with Wizkid for malaria, why will I not do it? It's about educating people on malaria, because we sang. We can still sit on a panel in a debate and we discuss the same thing we were singing. So you see, it's about the context, it's about the opportunity and the occasion. I'm not saying that we should now start looking now for opportunities to create songs with these people, no, that's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is we should define and knowing our boundaries. If we fall alongside the line of our boundaries, just like Destiny Changers, we do societal development. What if in this charity concert that we're organizing, Petit Pays comes, that during the healing worship, he wants to bring 10 bags of 50 kg rice? Shall we send him away? We shall not. It's an opportunity that we are giving to everyone, to the general society, to do something for the less privileged. Just like a Muslim will give, just like a Buddhist is going to give, the occasion permits all of us to come together, because one, we are a family. Despite the fact that we have different belief systems, we are a family, and it's a good opportunity and a good occasion for us to share our ideologies, so that the one that is best will win the other. That's why they say a stronger solution will draw a weaker solution. So if Jesus is the stronger solution, he's the one that convicts. Opportunity for us to meet a convict. But I've not said you leave now, because Jesus is going to convict. You go to the nightclub today, you and Wizkid, you go and you're singing about women, singing about unnecessary stuff that are vulgar words. No, we have to be careful.
Okay, finally, let's talk about rap music. Do you think that Christianity in Africa fully accepts rap gospel artists as genuine ministers of the gospel?
This question also is technical. Technical because rap generally was seen as stuff for rascals. And a lot of rappers in the gospel milieu wanted to copy the attitude of rascality, the way they dress, the way they act, tattoos and things like that. And in the Christian society, which in quote looks like a gentleman's club, did not really find it comfortable with the attitude, what they were painting, whereas the people had a good heart. But my little advice is that if the rap artists can focus on the message which is stronger, because they have wonderful messages, and work on their looks and attitude, because rap doesn't necessarily mean that you must put on destroyed jeans before you. No, you can still be in your gandora or your agbada, as they call it, and you do rap. I've seen rappers like that, even in the US. I've seen rappers in suits. They look responsible and they rap. But that doesn't cut out the fact that those who wear jeans should not be accepted. All I'm just trying to say, you should know your boundaries. Just like we talked about Tasha Cobbs and Nicki Minaj. You should know your boundaries, and when you are dressing, you dress just like an adage should say, that people will be addressed by the way they dress. So paint that attitude of a I'm not even saying a gentleman, a responsible music person. So people will accept it. And that is a problem we have even in the African music. Because we want to copy things that work in Scotland to bring to Cameroon, and it will never work. Just like you copy things that work in Cameroon to take to Scotland, nobody will listen to you. And maybe you have 5-10% that will listen to you in Scotland, but the ratio is going to be 0. Nothing. But just like in Cameroon too, it's the same thing. So let us be ourselves, but do that thing. Rap is a genre of music. We must do music. But when we are in a place, we should respect the culture, so that when we are ministering to the people, we minister to them according to their culture, their background, where they're coming from. When we import some stuff, by the way we look, they don't feel like they belong.
Okay, so in essence, what if I understand you clearly, what you're saying is that sometimes rap artists are not accepted as genuine ministers of the gospel simply because they come with a foreign culture and maybe copy foreign ways of appearing that don't look sacred to Christians in Africa.
Not just Christians. This same problem even the secular rappers in Africa face. It's general. It's not just in the Christian folk. It's not just in the Christian folk. Even secular rappers face the same problems because they always look like people who take drugs. That's the concept. And if they want to really win the heart of the society, I'm not saying that you should change because that's is talking. No. But understand the people, understand their system, understand their culture. I'm going to answer your question by asking a question. Soul music is not an African genre, but it's music. Reggae itself is not an African genre, but it's music. Blues is not an African genre, but it's music. Jazz, rock and roll. African music is folklore, makossa. That's African genre. Those are purely African genre. Afro jazz. Those are the things that had to link to Africa. But there are people that do soul music in Africa, yet they are accepted. There are gospel ministers who sing soul gospel in Africa, and they are accepted. There are gospel singers like Buchi who sings reggae in Africa and accepted. But there are reggae singers that people find it difficult to flow with them in Africa just because they believed that they were into serious drugs. Why did they accept Buchi, who is doing that genre? Buchi understood that I have to look like them to bring that, and that's why Buchi is succeeding. Look at other reggae gospel. How many do you know? It's difficult, but that is the problem. And now the rappers, if they can emulate this ideology, they're going to succeed. Look at Pastor Timi Dakolo. He's doing strange songs, yet he succeeds because of his look. He's responsible in appearance, and he's responsible in his songs. Outside his music, he's a responsible man. So these are the things that I think our rappers have to get back to that place, because it's a strong thing